The Ahmadiyya Muslim Community is an Islamic revival movement founded in Punjab, British India in the late 19th century. Currently, there are over 70 chapters in the USA, including one in the Niagara Frontier. I talked with Imam Adnan Ahman of Masjid Mahdi about the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community and its commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the first missionary coming to America and establishing the first Ahmadiyya Muslim Community in the USA. Really pleased to welcome Imam Adnan Ahman. It's good to have you here, and you're the Imam at the Masjid Mahdi, actually in Niagara Falls, New York.
Correct. Thank you very much for having me. And yes, we are located on 9610 Colwyn Boulevard in the Niagara Falls. Yes.
Well, I want a little bit about yourself. You were born and raised in Pakistan.
Yes, I was born and somewhat raised in Pakistan, and came to Canada in 2001. And that's where I mostly completed my education. I went to a seminary college there that is run by the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. It's a 7 years theology course in which you study about Islam and about different faiths as well: Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Shintoism, Taoism, all the major religions of the world. And then I moved to the States in 2012.
Now, let me ask you, Imam, is it more a ceremonial position, is it not, in terms of religious leader and so forth? Is an Imam also a teacher in Ahmadiyya?
So Imam literally means one who stands at the front, one who leads. So that can be a ceremonial as well as one who instructs and guides and teaches to the congregation, one who leads the prayer, one who leads the sermons. So both of these meanings can be correct for the term Imam.
So it varies within Ahmadiyya as well? I know some other Imams have said, well, they're mostly ceremonial because then they're Islamic scholars.
Right, so that depends. For instance, I went to a seminary, so I am properly trained into the Islamic teaching. So my Imam title would be different than someone who just has to lead one prayer or made Imam to conduct a specific ceremony. So I come with a background of it as well, who has completed a degree in theology.
Now, would that be a degree, or how would you recognize that?
Yes, it's a degree. It's a 7 years course, you can understand.
Right.
It's not an easy thing. So as I said, we talk about a different religion. We study different religions and philosophy and history of that. So that's what I did in Canada, then came to the US.
Well, very quickly, the history of Ahmadiyya, your founder.
Right, so the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community was Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. He was born in 1835 in Qadian, India, and he claimed to be the reformer of the latter days, the second coming of Messiah, not the same Messiah as we find in Christianity, but someone having the same qualities and characteristics and same kind of mission to establish peace and justice and harmony, and spread the message with love and kindness. So he started the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community in 1889, and after his demise, we have a system for successorship known as the spiritual caliphate in Islam, and currently we have the fifth successor who resides in London, England. His name is His Holiness Musa Muslim, and you met him a couple of years ago.
Yes, a few years ago. That was right. In Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I believe.
Right. So
and then he was in Toronto.
He was in Toronto. So he's very a person who goes to a lot of countries and preach the message of Islam.
Well, now the Ahmadiyyas have been persecuted in some parts of the world.
Right. So because of certain beliefs of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in the Muslim majority countries like Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, the community is persecuted because primarily for the fact that we don't believe in the violent jihad, that is the jihad of the sword. We believe that the best form of jihad, as told by the founder of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the jihad of the inner self, that you reform yourself, you become a better person, better human being better husband, better wife, better citizen of your country, and that is something which we should aim for. And then in this day and age, we believe that the jihad of the pen should be at the forefront, that you write articles.
So that's the personal struggle.
Right,
You know,
primarily the
it's not
personal
actually-
struggle, jihad.
So
right.
it's around that you talk, you know, you do promotion that said Islam is a religion of peace.
Right. So as we know that in the media, especially in the West, there are a lot of misconceptions about Islam. To counter that, we run different campaigns from time to time. For instance, one of our campaign was Stop the Crisis, with the focus on ISIS. And then there was True Islam versus
True.
Extremism, yes, in which we highlighted 11 points which will help a person differentiate between a practicing Muslim and someone who has the extremist ideology. So we run these kind of campaigns to educate people about Islam.
So just concisely, if someone said, well, what is the difference between a jihadist and a, you know, believing Muslim?
Right. So unfortunately, both of these take the teaching from the Quran. But in order to understand, there are certain verses which were revealed at the time when Prophet Muhammad was in war with his opponents. So he was persecuted for 13 long years, and then he migrated from that town of Mecca to Medina. And then, you know, his opponents, they chased him back to Medina. At that time, certain verses were revealed that if they're all out to kill you, then you have the right to defend yourself. And in that process, if someone is killed, so be it. So the extremists, they use these kind of verses that has a history and a background. But we say that the core teachings are that there is no compulsion in the matter of religion, and no one should be forced to change their religion. And this is a matter of heart. This is something between you and God, and you cannot change people's hearts. So extremists would take certain verses which were in the context of war, but in general, everyone understand that you know, those verses were for a specific time period.
But I think Ahmadiyyas are really committed to spreading the word of Islam. How do you do that without kind of forcing someone or taking advantage of them to convert?
Right. So this is what we do, that instead of converting people, we educate people. So in that process, someone likes to accept the ideology of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, then so be it. But the core values of Ahmadiyya Muslim community are the same as the core values of Islam. So whatever we present that from the Holy Quran and from the Ahadith or the sayings of Prophet Muhammad. So that is why a lot of people are attracted, that it's not a made up story. We actually provide the references from the original sources of Islam.
Now, this is a very special year, the 100th anniversary of...
Correct. So this year we are marking the 100th anniversary since the Ahmadiyya Muslim community was established in the US. So the very first missionary, or the Imam, came to Philadelphia in February, on February 15, 1920. So this year, the 2020, we are celebrating 100 years since the community was established here. So we are holding different programs, and there was a program in the month of February, and now during the month of Ramadan, we will be holding another event, and then throughout the year, special events focusing the centennial celebration will be conducted.
Now, this will be all over the United States?
This will be all over the United States. So each chapter, we have about 65 chapters all over the US, 4 in the New York State, and each chapter will be celebrating these events.
Now, what about Toronto? Because you have a large community in Toronto. Will they be celebrating the same 100th anniversary?
No, since we are talking about the US, so the missionary came to the US, but Canada celebrated their 50 years since the community was established there. That was a couple of years ago, and His Holiness, the Khalifa of Islam, Musa Muslim, as I spoke about, he came and graced the occasion. So we are hoping that he might also come here, so we'll have more joy and more events focusing the teaching of Islam.
So we can talk about the chapters in the United States, but it's in many parts of the world, though.
It is. So Ahmadiyya Muslim Community is established in over 200 nations of the world. The main focus is in Africa and Asia, but all over the world you will find that Ahmadiyya community has one or few branches in pretty much all the countries of the world.
So all over Africa or particular countries?
All over Africa, but the majority is in West Africa.
In West Africa.
Yeah, like Ghana and Nigeria.
And where in
Ivory
Asia
Coast.
then is Ahmadiyya very strong?
So Ahmadiyya was started in India, as I
Right.
said, and then later on, when the migration took place in 1947, then most of the people migrated to Pakistan and then to Bangladesh as well. And these are the three main hubs of the Ahmadiyya community in Asia.
Now, you have a world center in London. Is there a center in the United States?
Yes, so each country has their own headquarters, and in the US, our headquarters is in Silver Spring, Maryland. And internationally, yes, wherever His Holiness, the world leader of the Ahmadiyya community reside, that technically is the international headquarters. So currently it's in London, England, so that's the international headquarters.
Well, it's really an honor to have you here and share the 100th anniversary, Imam Adnan Ahman. And again, from Masjid Mahdi in Niagara Falls, New York. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
And have a good day. And for all of you, thank you.
Thank you.